Hi guys, in the previous video we have learned about the SVG tag inside which we can have a separate tag for line, circle, ellipse, rectangle and polygon. But in this video we are going to learn about HTML canvas. Unlike SVG wherein like it has a different tag for each and every line, circle and ellipse objects, but canvas is a single tag and then we will draw the 2D and 3D diagrams in canvas using JavaScript. So the syntax for the canvas element is canvas tag, and let's define ID for canvas, say my canvas, and let's give some width is 2000 pixels and height to be 2000 pixels, and let's give some border for it. Style is border solid black. So similarly, like media, audio, and SVG tags, we can give a message if the SVG tag is not supported. I'm saying please upgrade browser and close the canvas tag. Now we have to write the script, JavaScript. So we'll have a script tag, script. Now we have to get the canvas element in the inside the JavaScript. So for that we are declaring a variable called canvas, and then we have to say document dot get element by id my canvas. Now we have got the canvas element, and then where ctx equal to canvas, which is this element, canvas element, canvas dot get context. Now we are getting the context to be 2D, two-dimensional thing. And then to make a rectangle, what we have to do is like we have to define the fill style as in we did for SVG tag. We have to give the fill style here, we will give it as a red, and then for rectangle the syntax is fill rect. This is syntax for rectangle, and then you have to give the coordinates. So let's say from starting 0 and 0 in x-axis and y-axis, and till 200 in x-axis and 100 in y-axis. Yep, so let's save it and see what happens. Yeah, so this is our canvas element, which is of 2000 cross 2000 our canvas element, inside which we have drawn a rectangle for starting from 0 0 to 200 in the x-axis and 100 in the y-axis. So, and if you want to draw a line, we have to say ctx dot move to. So to define the coordinates from which point we have to start the line, we have to say move to. So let's move to 200 comma 100, and then we have to draw a line, ctx dot line 2. We have to draw a line 2 in the x-axis 300 comma 100 in the y-axis, and then we have to say ctx dot stroke. So now we are defining the coordinates using move to, say from starting from 200 comma 100 coordinate, and then we have to say ctx dot line 2 draw a line to coordinate 300 in the x-axis and 100 in the y-axis, and then we have to say stroke. The stroke will draw a line for us. Let's see. Yep, so we're having a line here from 200 comma 100 to 300 comma 100. We have a line now. So the next thing we are going to see is text. So for the text we have to say ctx dot font. Just give some font, say like T, and you have to say stroke text. Ctx dot stroke text. uh, Sorry, the font is like what font, Arial or sans serif or something like that, and we have to say that we'll say 30 pixel Arial font, and in the text we have to give here is hello. We can give some hello world, and we have to define the coordinates. We'll say, let's say 10 comma 50. Let's save it and see what happens. Yeah, so we have a coordinate from in the 10 comma 50. We have a hello world text which is a Arial, 30 pixels Arial, and if you want to fill it with something, then like here if you say fill text, then it will okay. So maybe like we will comment the rectangle thing so that we can see. Yep, so we have a fill text. So that is about text, and the next thing we can see is the linear gradient. So for a gradient, what you need to do is like we have to declare a variable, so to create a gradient. So we have to say this variable will create a gradient from out of ctx. Say create linear gradient of, let's say, some x1 y1 and x2 y2. And for gradients you have to add color stops, like the starting color and the ending color. So you can add more than two color stops, one or two or more color stops you can add. In our example, let's add two color stops. Add color stop 0. For to start with, you can say 0, and then let's say blue, and we have to add one more color stop. Add color stop, next is 1, we will say red. So now here we have defined the gradient. Now we have to fill the gradient in some rectangle. So to fill it in the rectangle, ctx dot fill style. So here you have given a color, but here we are instead of color we are going to give this variable which is a gradient, which we have defined. So the rectangle, so now fill style is the gradient, and we are going to draw a rectangle with that gradient. So again, like fill rect 200 comma 700 coordinates, and to that 500 in the x-axis to 250 in the y-axis. Okay, let's save it and see what happens. Yeah, so see here, so we have a coordinate 200 and 700. This is the point to which from which we have drawn a rectangle of 500 cross 250, and then inside which we have filled this gradient. So we have a linear gradient from here to here. So the next thing is radial gradient. So for radial gradient, what you have to do is like you have to say create radial gradient, and fill that gradient with the let's see what happens here. Oops, maybe we will change the sorry, for radial gradient we have to have six things: x1 y1 and then the radius, and then here for linear gradient we have x y and x1 y1 and x2 y2, but for radial gradient we have to have x1 y1 and r1, similarly x2 y2 and r2. So let's define some x1 y1 as 305 5 comma 720, and let's say R is F5, and then 680 comma 790, some 80 in the, say 80 in the R2, and then yep, let's see what happens here. Yeah, so see here, so we have a radial gradient. So this is the syntax for radial gradient, and then we can play around with this. So that's it about for canvas. You can learn more how to create a clock using canvas, or how to create a 3 dimension using canvas, and much more. Thank you.